Hello friends, as we know that current carbon dioxide concentration is not sufficient to fully saturate photosynthetic enzyme Robisco, and as a result when these plants are grown under high carbon dioxide condition they have high photosynthetic efficiency, and as a result these plants get more biomass, more yield when grown under high carbon dioxide conditions as compared to normal environment or normal CO2 concentrations. However, there are certain factors which must be taken into consideration while planning or planning the growing of plants under high carbon dioxide conditions. One of the most important factor while considering CO2 fertilization effect is crop species. It is very important to take into consideration what type of crop species you are going to grow under high carbon dioxide conditions. As we know that C3 crops are less efficient in their CO2 acquisition mechanism as compared to C4 plants. So when C4 plants are grown under high carbon dioxide conditions, the beneficial effect of CO2 fertilization on C4 crops is minimal. However, when C3 crops are grown under high carbon dioxide conditions, they get more benefit. They have high photosynthetic efficiency, high biomass, and higher yields because Rubisco enzyme in C3 crops will get more carbon dioxide under high CO2 conditions. However, in C4 crops, the mechanism of CO2 acquisition is already efficient enough to provide sufficient amount of CO2 to the photosynthetic enzyme. In conditions such as drought stress, the C4 crops will also get benefit from high CO2. The productivity of C4 crops which are suffering from drought stress will be more as more under high CO2. So if you are growing C4 crops in conditions where you cannot provide sufficient amount of water, CO2 fertilization can be beneficial in getting higher yields. The second factor which must be considered while growing crops under high CO2 is nutrient fertilization or mineral fertilization. The crop plants suffering from one or more deficiencies of mineral nutrients such as nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and magnesium, etc., will not get sufficient benefit from high CO2. In a study of our own group, when wheat plants were grown under high carbon dioxide condition, and they were suffering from magnesium deficiency, high CO2 exacerbated the effect of magnesium deficiency. These plants, when grown under high carbon dioxide, they showed more severe symptoms of magnesium deficiency as compared to when grown under normal carbon dioxide conditions. So if you are not providing sufficient amount of mineral nutrients to your plants, it is not beneficial to provide CO2 fertilization. So it is recommended that you should provide sufficient amount of nutrients when growing under high carbon dioxide conditions. In a second study of myself, we found that wheat plants which were suffering from potassium deficiency did not show any positive response to high CO2. Similarly, in other conditions such as nitrogen or phosphorus deficiencies, the positive effect of high CO2 will not be visible. In case of nutrients, I would also like to mention the form of nitrogen, which type of nitrogen you will provide to your plants so that these can get better benefit or more benefit from high CO2. In one of our studies, when we grow wheat plants with different forms of nitrogen, that is nitrate, ammonium, or combination of ammonium and nitrate and urea, the plants supplied with ammonium nitrate, I mean 50% ammonium, 50% nitrate, had higher biomass enhancement ratio under high carbon dioxide condition as compared to those provided with either nitrate or ammonium or alone urea. So it is recommended when you are growing your plants under high CO2 that you should provide your plants with nitrogen in the combination of ammonium and nitrate so that you can get more benefit from high CO2 conditions. In addition to these factors, there is also a point which should be considered while growing under high carbon dioxide condition. In a large number of studies, it has been shown that the plants grown under high carbon dioxide condition has less amount of mineral elements and vital nutrients. These plants has less amount of protein in their produce, less amount of zinc, iron and other nutrients as compared to those grown under normal carbon dioxide condition. In our own studies we have found that wheat plants when grown under high carbon dioxide condition has significantly lower protein concentration in their grains. Similarly, the other nutrients such as zinc, iron, calcium, magnesium, and boron were significantly reduced in plants grown under high carbon dioxide conditions. And the effect of high carbon dioxide on nutritional quality was more severe when plants were not supplied with sufficient amount of any of these nutrients. For example, zinc, when wheat plants were grown with insufficient amount of zinc, they had more negative effect of high carbon dioxide on grain zinc concentration. So while considering g- the plants grown under high carbon dioxide, you should consider that output of these crops or these farming will have lesser amount of these vital nutrients, and to cope with this negative effect of high CO2 on nutritional quality, you should provide your crops with more amount of nutrients in the rhizosphere or through foliar fertilization so that the negative effect of the high carbon dioxide concentration on the nutritional quality of the produce should be minimized. Hope you like this video. Thank you.